The U.S. says it will increase the number of African refugees it takes in next year by nearly 50%. It's part of Washington's expanded resettlement program, following numbers released earlier this week. CCTV's Roee Ruttenberg has more.
The Obama administration says its goal is to admit 110,000 refugees to the U.S. in the next fiscal year, which begins on Saturday. That's an increase of 25,000. And that's despite anti-refugee rhetoric featuring prominently in the U.S. presidential election season. Much of the language has focused on displaced Syrians, what to do with them, and who and how many, if any, should be let in. Now, the U.S. government allocates slots by region, not by country, and Syrians fall into the Near East and South Asia category. The group also includes people from places like Iraq and Myanmar. Collectively, that group will account for more than a third of all refugees let in, according to the State Department. And officials say a third of those, around 12,000, could be from Syria. The next biggest group will come from the African continent, which will get 35,000 slots. That's 10,000 more than this year, the biggest increase for any group. This includes countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo and Somalia, and of course, North African states like Libya. White House spokesman Josh Earnest said the vetting process is not, quote, cheap, but noted the U.S. would consider more refugees if the Republican-controlled Congress allocated the necessary resources. Various Republican leaders have questioned if the screening process, particularly of certain groups, is stringent enough. And this week, many opposed President Barack Obama's increases. The White House defended the plans and says the U.S. must do its part. It's called on other countries around the world to show, quote, a greater commitment to not just shunting this burden off to a handful of countries. Roee, Ruttenberg, CCTV in Washington.